clearly the big talking point all week has been about Elijah Hollands. And Michael Voss today stood up in front of a press conference, and this is what he had to say.
I think our people have been bullied, and I think we bully for outcomes. And all I'd just say is that we need to take in consideration the people involved in this. I mean, this impacts families, Jay. So, it's not as... It affects a lot of people. And the detail of that will obviously in the process and the privacy of that. But that's what we're going to keep. That's what we're going to keep, is make sure that we have privacy right throughout this. You can have your commentary. That's what you do. What we are charged to do is ensure that we maintain the privacy of the player. And if that means that there's judgment in behind that towards me and there's a few bullets that needs to come our way, well, we take it, because privacy is the utmost importance for us.
Michael Voss using strong words there in front of the microphones, bullied and privacy. And I think to both of you, I think all of us are respecting Elijah Hollands' privacy. I don't think anyone's searching for greater answers. And no doubt that press conference will divide opinion. And we'd love to get your thoughts. 133693 693, Nick Theodosi, open line. The takeaway, Leigh, I reckon you don't always look at comments, but you look at feedback. And as soon as that press conference landed and a lot of people were able to consume it, it felt like there was two camps immediately formed. There was... Get them, Bossy. Get the media. Get people looking for stories. Get them, the rumour mongers, all that. Go get them. Well done. And other people going, hang on. You can't assume the victim blaming card and deflecting. So where do both of you sit the way after Michael Voss's presser?
Well, I got to think most of the time when you're doing a press conference, but even for 20 minutes, you've got a thought in your mind. Like, he knew it would be questioned about the issue. But the issue is not about Elijah Holland. The issue now is the review. There must be a review taking place within Carlton, isn't there?
There is.
Yep.
Well, how long is that going to take? Like, in other words, this thing will end when there's a review and an outcome that says that to say what did the Carlton Football Club and the people around the Carlton Football Club, how did they handle the whole situation? That's really what everyone's waiting on, I would have thought. And I would have thought too. I reckon if he had his time over, Voss, I don't know whether he'd use the bullying thing. Because bullying's a really harsh word, isn't it? Really? There's no doubt the Carlton operation's been questioned. Maybe it's been disrespected because it's been questioned. But I don't think this comes under the bullying category.
I think he's used that word as a bit of a back-off kind of terminology.
It is a back-off word.
I think he's used that to just say back off. But also, commentary isn't bullying. Media commentary, I don't think, is necessarily bullying. And in this case, you've got WorkSafe asking questions. That's not bullying.
No.
That's them asking legitimate questions of the organisation and where things went wrong. I've got no doubt that it's taking its toll personally on not just Elijah Hollands and his family, but other members of Carlton. But the interesting thing for me as well in thinking about it was, do you think this increases the scrutiny on Michael Voss's coaching, or is he going to get a bit of a let-off from it? Because now we're looking at the executive at Carlton. Do you think it makes it worse, scrutiny on him?
I don't think he gets a let-off. And I don't want to put words in both your mouth, but I agree that the bullying thing was harsh, but accountability is not bullying.
No. And
the way maybe I might be following different media or I'm tracking different things. The questions are being asked of the Carlton Football Club. The Elijah Hollands stuff has been quite rightly parked. Let him recover. Let him do what he needs to do, get healthy and well and have all the support. And everyone's completely respecting that. There hasn't been a running commentary on where he's at, what hospital, what he's doing. But you're being held accountable for gross mismanagement. And I think that's fair questions to ask. And the other question I've got is, Carlton's doing their own review, but Chris Davies is the head of football. He shouldn't be doing the review because the question's got to be asked of him, because on match day as head of football, you're in charge of the football department.
Well, I assume, you then go and present to the AFL what you've found, and if they're not satisfied, they look into it further. But the thing is, they don't like the reaction also from the fans, but the problem is that it was a lot of the fans that actually noticed what was going on. It wasn't members of the media who were necessarily seeing what was unfolding. It was videos from the stands.
And that's true. There's a big picture, but if you just talk about Michael Voss today and his press conference and his attitude, he was protecting his club.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Tick, 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 tick.
That's admirable.
It's a bit like when a coach protects his player to the illogical sense. But, hey, I'm protecting my player because he's my part of my organisation. And really, I mean, Vossi is probably upset, but disappointed in a sense that his club is being questioned. You know, and that's everyone in his club, and that's a lot of people. You know, everyone in the footy department, in a sense, is under question. Really, the thing that interested me though, well, when is there going to the review outcome? There must be, if there's a review. There's got to be a report and an outcome, and you don't want to do it in a day.
Yeah, they haven't
given a time. You want to do it in a week, don't you?
Yeah. And the privacy part of it as well, for me, I mean, I think clearly everyone, I think, is respecting that in relation to Elijah Hollands. I'm wondering what other privacy they think has been breached through all of this.
And I think the general football public, there's a natural scepticism to AFL and club reviews because we've found, over the course of history, we get a manufactured outcome that then once we get the light of day, well, hang on, how did we land here? So I think everyone's searching for transparency and are actually looking for proper accountability of what we all saw on Thursday night, which is really, really concerning.
And other football clubs will be taking notice. This is the thing. The industry is going to pay attention to this because it just happens to be Carlton. It just happens to be them. But it could have been another club because it's sort of unprecedented. So it's not a bad thing it's being reviewed because other clubs are probably thinking, what would we have done? Do we have the right practices in place if this situation had arisen?
Every club, whenever anything happens in the footy world, each club tends to ask themselves, well, what was us?
Are we covered?
We covered. How are we going in this space? But I said, bottom line, I mean, all Vossi was doing today really was sticking up for his club. I mean, everything else, the bullying, you can question whether the bullying word should have been there rather than just being questioned or disrespected or what have you. But in a sense, it's only one word. Bottom line, he was sticking up for his club.
Yeah, and I think that's admirable, and I think anybody who's come, and you more than mostly, the character of Michael Voss, and I don't think his character's in question. I just got to read this. This just came through from Carlton Football Club as we came to air. This is a statement being released. The Carlton Football Club continues to prioritise the welfare of Elijah Hollands alongside providing ongoing support for his family and our club's people through what remains a complex and challenging time. The club can confirm it has responded this evening to the AFL's request and provide an account of the circumstances relating to Hollands and the club's Round 6 match. The club understands the significant interest in this matter. However, out of respect for the sensitivities involved, the club will not be providing further comment until the AFL processes has been finalised. We thank our members and the public for their patience and understanding as the club continues to work through this matter alongside the AFL and the AFLPA with a high level of sensitivity, care and diligence. That is quite right. But what people are questioning, and they're not digging in to what is going on with Elijah Hollands, they're digging into the process of everyone involved in the match day actions at the football club.
It's inevitable that if you are Michael Voss and you're obligated to do a press conference every week, that you are going to get these questions. That's why Graham Wright spoke on the weekend, because it shouldn't just be up to the coach, but they are put in this position, unfortunately, where they're the person.
And some serious questions need to also be asked and challenged of the AFL as well, because if you've got an ARC who's there looking for players and their behaviour post-knocks or something doesn't look right, they can actually contact the bench. There also is a lot of people that sit between those two benches who are match day officials. So, what are their actual roles? And I'm not saying that we have to smash people, but let's just get an understanding of, hang on, what are we doing so we don't have ever another situation like that?
Comments from Michael Voss saying that the club feels bullied or we're borderline bullying them as a society or as a whole. Were you surprised to hear him use the term bullying?
Yeah, I was. I can understand where he was coming from. He's coming from a place of protecting his people, and he's coming from a place of the background of the club feeling like they've put in all the care and all the resources they believe that they could have done for Elijah. And the question I had in my mind, and more the statement I had in my mind, is you can have care and failure in the same situation, and I think that I don't know whether that's because of the investigation that's happening now and the findings aren't out. I think that will then come out. My hope for it all, my hope is that whoever's at fault and whoever's been part of this situation and takes some ownership of their part of it, and not in terms of that they did anything malicious or meant it, but take some accountability and some ownership of their part in it. And I think there's probably going to be multiple people, whether it's AFL, Carlton, people around the situation. I hope that's what happens next. That's what the findings bring, and more broadly off the back of that, as we just spoke about, that there's actually some change off the back of it. I don't know, maybe as a friend to Elijah and the whole situation as a player, ex-player, I want change. I don't want to slap on the wrist. I don't want to fine. I want people to sit down and come up with some solutions of how to actually make the environment better for players. And a lot of blame's gone on the media. I sit on the media, and there's a lot of people that didn't report on the situation and did because their ethics said no. So I think there's just a lot to learn in this situation. It's obviously really complex, and my biggest want from it all is that everyone sits down and comes up with some solutions moving forward.
Because what's it like having millions of people as a player judge everything you do, whether it's going to the shop to get a coffee, whether it's playing in front of 100,000 people? In Melbourne, footy's the religion, and you feel, I imagine, like you're under a microscope no matter what you do. Yeah,
and honestly, there's so many layers to it. There's your own expectations and you're almost your harshest critic. You've got people internal to the club. Their job's to give you feedback and critique your game, whether it's positive or negative. You've then got everyone that's got access to social media. That's in your face whether you like it or not. Then you've got all of the people that sit on the outside of the game that they have their opinion. Their job is my job is to give my opinion of what happens in footy. This is the environment that players live in, which then just highlights the support that needs to sit around it. And obviously there is a level of support, but I'm starting to think that maybe we need to do a little bit more than what we're doing at the moment.